Hello and welcome to Dangerous Case. Today we'll be looking at some paranormal events which was captured on CCTV. This happened in China on the 14th of May 2016. The woman walks down the aisle, an object behind her falls off the shelf. She noticed it, looks behind, then goes to pick it up. However, all of a sudden she drops her belongings, swings her head back and forth for about 15 seconds before falling to the floor. A nearby customer witnessed her strange behavior, so walks towards her and taps on her shoulder. The woman then lets out a petrifying scream. At this point, she captures the attention of other customers. A male bystander walks towards her, trying to see if she's okay, but yet again the woman screams, and this was frightening enough to make the bystanders jump back. The man then attempts to constrain her by holding onto her arms. He then holds onto her head, pressing against her temples, then pray. The woman then gives out another terrifying scream. The impact of her scream was so strong it blurred the CCTV for a couple of seconds and moved some of the objects in the shop. Eventually, the three bystanders assisted the woman out the store. When the CCTV footage was released online, a lot of people believe she was possessed by a demon. So what do you think happened? A camera was placed in the living room and it captured a series of strange events. Initially, an object falls from the cupboard, then moments later, a flower pot begins to slide and falls to the floor. After this, another object with a wire attached to it falls as well. A kitchen drawer suddenly opens by itself, then within a few seconds, a fork comes flying out. However, it seems to have disappeared. Next thing we notice is that another cutlery comes flying out at full speed. The door then starts to slowly close. The police took with them long guns to this house, thinking there were criminals there causing the noise disturbance. However, as they entered the house where the door was swinging vigorously, they looked at the door from inside the house, anticipating there was something causing the movement. But there was nothing behind the door that could possibly cause it to swing. The police left the building and soon enough the horror began to sink in and they started to run away.
Caralho, bicho, que é isso, mano? Cuidado, Judá. Cuidado, mano, que é isso, mano? Mano, não tem nada. Caralho, mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano. Mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano, bora, mano. Deus me livre, mano. Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano. Corre. Caralho, mano, que é isso, bicho?
This man goes to open the fridge, takes a drink out, and as he was about to shut the door, he jerks, then starts shaking vigorously, dropping his drink on the floor. His arm straightens and claws both of his hands. He looks up, and all in all, very strange, as if he was possessed by a demon. Throughout the ordeal, he makes strange noises and looks as if he was being attacked by an unknown, unseen force. Eventually, he kneels on the floor, then points his finger at the woman in front of him and screams. He then grabs his head as he was suffering from a really bad headache, then gets up from the floor. A few moments later, he collapses onto the floor, then the reflection of a figure appears on the fridge door, after which we can see toilet rolls falling from the shelf. An employee working at this hospice took this video after he heard strange noises coming from this vacant hallway. He opens the door to the hallway and begins to walk down, trying to investigate the source of noise. A figure then appears. Upon further investigation, it looks like a similar to human figure and somewhat transparent peeking out of the door. The figure then starts to step forward, with its neck looking elongated. And as we can imagine how scary this experience must be for the person recording this. A Russian paranormal investigator called Tim went to a house alone in the attempt to detect paranormal activities. He sets up static cameras around the house to capture all angles, bringing with him a porcelain doll with devices such as EMF, a motion detector used to capture paranormal events. He took with him a sleeping bag, and a few hours after he's fallen asleep, at 3 a.m, static cameras begins to capture some interesting movements around the house. Here we can see the cup moving, and it's rolling in a controlled manner, as if someone is rolling it back and forth. A few seconds later, the camera located on the opposite side of the wall captures a dining chair moving on its own. Then it starts to slide excessively before the wardrobe door swings open. Tim then wakes up, but because the room was too dark, he turned on his torch to get a better view of his surrounding and noticed the change. As we can see here, the office chair starts to move on its own. It looks as if someone was moving it to its left. The owner of this house was experiencing unusual events at home, with objects moving on its own, or they come to find misplaced objects around the house, which they thought was very spooky. Therefore, they set up a static camera in the living room in order to see what's going on. On the coffee table we can see a black remote control, and it begins to move to the right. White rolling static then appears on the TV before it suddenly turns itself on. Notice there's a shadow moving right to left, but as you can see, there's clearly no one in front of the TV to cast that shadow. As we can imagine just how scary this might be for the owners to come back home and watch these paranormal activities happening in their own living room. These two men walked down the stairs and they were attacked by some kind of figure. If we watch this again in slow motion, we can see the figure vigorously attacking one of the men. The second person then joins in. Eventually, the figure becomes less aggressive and disappears entirely. The two men then dashes back home as fast as their legs could carry them. Thank you so much for watching. Please do consider subscribing. Click here to watch another video, and please do stay safe and stay alert out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.